Hello, and welcome back to session 2 of Building Capacity for Metacognitive Conversations. I am your facilitator, Lindsay. I pronounce everything theirs. And if you want a more full introduction, we have that in the introduction video. But what we're going to be talking about today is a really wonderful video. I'm so excited for you to listen to this video. It is called Thinking About Thinking, How to Challenge and Change Metacognitive Beliefs. This is a TED Talk by Katie O'Brien. And since it is such a long video, we decided to segment it and provide reflection questions in between each of those segments. So the first segment is almost 6 minutes. The second segment is a little bit shorter than that. And then the remaining 6-7 minutes is segment 3. Again, of them will have reflection questions, and you can reflect in whatever way is meaningful for you. Often when we think about reflection, it's either just thinking or it's writing or typing into a document. But some people have other modalities of reflecting. Maybe they want to draw, maybe they want to create something with their hands, maybe they want to take a walk and think. So whatever way makes sense for you, writing, thinking, typing, drawing, walking, meditations, poetry, diagramming, flowcharting, whatever it is that you think will help you best capture your thoughts, we want you to do that. But definitely find some way to capture them. Okay? So the reason why we're watching this video is because thinking about learning, we really need to be thinking about the emotions and the self-beliefs that students hold because they matter. A lot of students come in with negative beliefs that maybe they have kind of internalized over the years in the K through 12 education system, or even P through 12 education system, that they're dumb, or that they're bad at a subject, or they'll never be able to learn something, right? A lot of them have internalized that. And sometimes, due to trauma with educators, sometimes students also get activated during class. There might be something that the professor says to them that makes them flash back to something that they heard when they were young. And so emotions and their beliefs around learning are incredibly important. And that's why we really want to highlight this idea of metacognitive beliefs, because part of that learning process is emotion management. And if we're aware of our metacognitive beliefs, we can slowly start to shift them. Katie O'Brien will talk a little bit about what that looks like. So for the focus today, thinking about the reading apprenticeship framework, we're going to be focusing on the affective domain. So the social dimension of what's the environment like and how does that impact the learning process, and the personal dimension, and especially the personal dimension, right? How do I see myself as a learner, and how does my feelings about my ability to learn and read, how does that impact my process in learning? So we'll kind of think about how can we include metacognitive conversations in that. So if you've downloaded the PowerPoint, and hopefully you have, you'll have the opportunity to watch or listen to the segment attached here. It's not showing up in the little computer, but it should be a little video. Oh, there it is. So when you click that, it'll show you the segment from the beginning until 5 minutes and 40 seconds. And hopefully it'll pause, but if it doesn't, just keep an eye on the timer. And when you get to 5:40, hit pause. Because during that first segment, we want you to reflect on these questions. So before we get to those questions, watch this segment. So you can pause this video to go watch that video, watch until 5:40, and then return to this. So hopefully you've watched that section. And now I want you to reflect. So COVID has been an incredible time for learners. It has been, for many, an incredibly hard time to be a learner. COVID has have many different impacts on our emotions. Many people are experiencing grief, trauma, and loss, uh, loneliness, self-doubt, anxiety. A lot of mental health issues have come up. And that may mean that the learner they are today is a different learner than they were before COVID happened. So I want you to spend some time reflecting, and this could be an exercise you do with students. I want you to think about who you are pre-COVID. What were your beliefs about your ability to learn before COVID? And then during COVID, during the height of COVID, COVID is still happening, but during the height of COVID, did your beliefs around your ability to learn change? Now we're trapped at home. We don't have access to community. Did that change your beliefs around learning? And then in what most people are calling the post-COVID era, but at least where I'm living, it's still going on. In this kind of year 3 of COVID, did you adjust your learning process now that you had to learn in a new way? And if you did, hopefully you did, how did you do that? So go ahead and pause here and reflect on the pre-peri and post-COVID you. Again, reflect in any way that makes sense. Now you're going to watch segment 2. Segment 2, watch or listen. The following from 5:40, so where you left off, until 10:18. And again, if you click on the little image, then you will be able to just watch this segment. But if you wanted to find it on YouTube or however you end up watching your segment, just stop at 10:18 and then return back to this video. Go ahead and pause this video, go watch that segment. All right, hopefully you watched segment 2. This one is going to be kind of a two-parted theme. So in this first part, I pulled a quote from the video. Katie O'Brien says, if you believe that you're going to do just fine, you might never enter into this loop. The loop she's referencing is that metacognitive loop, really kind of, thinking about what your goal is, monitoring, adjusting, so on. You might not monitor because why would you if you thought you were going to do just fine? So your question is, why would you monitor if you think you're doing fine? This kind of goes back to the introductory video where I talked about metacognition's metacomprehension moment, right? And meta-memory moment, right? Some students are overconfident that they know things, right? So maybe they're not going to engage metacognitively in their learning process because they don't know they should, right? Because they're overconfident about their ability to remember. So how would you, the question to you is, how would you assess your students' metacognitive beliefs, right? How do you know whether they are entering that loop or not? Gauge that. How would you gauge that? And then how would you explain to a student this loop of setting a goal, choosing a strategy, executing a strategy, and then assessing whether it worked? How are you seeing whether they're actually engaging in metacognition? And why might this loop or describing this loop to a student be helpful? So go ahead and pause and reflect on one or all of these questions. The next set of questions we want you to be thinking about is metacognition and so Katie O'Brien says, we have to activate this loop many, many times of monitoring and controlling, lots of experience and feedback before we start to shift, to get a shift in beliefs. So students have to practice metacognition a lot, right? This process of thinking about their thinking before they can change how they feel about themselves as learners, right? That's really what the metacognitive beliefs are, right? my ability to remember something, my ability to remember names, for example, or the grocery list. So what might you say to a student to get them thinking about their thinking in the first place, right? And here's the emotional component. How do you support students who experience frustration as they practice becoming more strategic learners? So how do you help them think about their thinking to start shifting those beliefs? Go ahead and pause the video here and reflect on one or both of these emotions, or even the book. All right. So this final segment is from where you left off, 10:18, to the very end of the video. So go ahead and pause the video here so you can go ahead and watch. So one of the quotes that really stuck out to me was when Katie O'Brien said, "Our beliefs might not be mapping to the person that we are." So this again is thinking about students' learner identity, their reader identity, right? Our beliefs in being able to learn might not be true, right? And students, again, might be underconfident about their ability to learn and their ability to remember the content. So there's a mismatch, right, between their beliefs and their capabilities. And this is true whether they're overconfident, underconfident, or just don't even think about it. We want to help students to make it so that their beliefs help them with their self-efficacy, their ability, their belief that they can do something, right? So I want you to think about a time when you felt like you couldn't learn something. Think about the negative metacognitives you have, beliefs you have about something that maybe is just not your strong suit. In those moments when you were, still trying to do it, maybe you wanted to start gardening and it wasn't going so well, right? What do you wish someone had said to you to help you believe in yourself that you were a capable learner? In some cases, a lot of people think they're bad at reading or they're slow at reading. What would you say to them in that moment to help them see themselves as capable readers? And could you see yourself saying this to a student? So go ahead and pause this and reflect on these two questions. And finally, we always want to include a little design component because we can talk about all this stuff, but unless you have something on hand to do with students, it's not going to be very helpful. So your task is to design an activity that helps students examine and modify their metacognitive beliefs or help them engage in that metacognitive loop. So set a timer for 15 minutes and think about what activity you could help, engage students in to help them examine their beliefs around their ability to learn and how you can help them engage in this metacognitive loop to modify those beliefs. Okay, so pause here, set a timer, and great, welcome back from your design session. The final kind of component to this, of course, is your Flipgrid homework. So in the Canvas shell, under this module for session 2, we do have the Flipgrid homework up. There should be an example for you to look at if you like, but definitely go ahead and post up a quick Flipgrid. And feel free to also converse with your fellow Flipgridders about their designs. So that's in the Canvas shell. Feel free to do that. You've made it through session 1 and 2, and the next session that you're going to move on to is metacognitive journaling in 3 different ways. So I won't be in that video. Corinne will be in that video. You'll hear from her all about metacognitive journaling and the ability to design your own metacognitive journaling. So look forward to session 3 and then our final session 4, that is synchronous. If you have any questions, feel free to email Corinne or I, or you can message us through Canvas. Either works. But I'm glad you made it through session 2 and that you were able to design something around metacognitive beliefs. Hopefully, it also got you thinking about your own beliefs and how you help students expand their beliefs. These were the resources we used. Zaretta Hammond, Culturally Responsive Teaching the Brain. She talked about emotional learning. Kitty O'Brien, the wonderful video, and of course, Reading for Other Students, second edition. All right, that's it for today. I hope that you had a good time. And good luck. We'll see you in session 3.